Welcome, everyone, to The Main Life, a way for you to become the best version of yourself. My name is Samuel Main, and welcome to the channel. Today, we are talking about what to do before you start your very own podcast. The first thing that we are going to look at is internal versus external motivation. So an example of internal motivation would be that you are going to produce 50 episodes of your podcast in a single year. That is directly something that you can control. An example of external motivation would be that you're going to aim to get 1,000 subscribers onto your channel. Although you can control the actions that are going to get you there, you cannot directly control how many subscribers will like your content and subscribe to your channel. So I'm personally a big fan of setting goals that are linked to your internal motivation, the lead indicators that you can control within your business. For me, my goal is to post daily onto my YouTube channel. And if I can do that, I'm in a good place and I'm happy with my own performance. Next up, we want to look at the branding for your podcast. So not only the branding, but we also want to look at the niche and the avatar that you will be targeting. Example, my podcast, The Main Journey, it targets men between the ages of 18 to 35. This is my target audience. This is who I'm striving to help. You want to decide exactly who it is that you are aiming to help, to serve, and to be able to then share your podcast to. As well as the branding for your podcast, you also need to decide your podcast name. You want to make this personal, you want to make this unique, you want to make this very understandable for the audience that you are targeting. Next up, something that really helped me when launching my podcast was that I already lined up my first 5 or 6 guests that I was going to have on the show. The more that you can have lined up, the better. But having those guests lined up meant that it gave me some accountability in hitting record. So if you can get to the place where you've got your next 5, 6 guests lined up, ready to go, so that then you can hit record, get going, and you have some accountability too. Hope that helps. The next thing that I set up for my podcast was a podcast booking system. I set up 2 things. The first one being an online form for the guest to complete with just a couple of questions and asking for a little bit of information, including their address so that I can send them a physical gift as a thank you for coming on my show, plus a link to my online calendar so that the guests could see when I was available and slot a suitable time for us to chat. These 2 things, although can be a little bit technical for some, it really helped me with efficiency of getting guests booked into my calendar and then accountability with my uploads. So I would recommend setting up your own podcast booking system so that you can start lining up guests for future episodes. Next up is picking a podcast schedule. This is when you are going to be sharing your content and sharing your episode with your audience. Now, a lot of people aim for a weekly episode. However, what I done was actually remove a podcast schedule. The reason for this is because I wanted my show to be internally motivated. It's something that I want to record and want to share whenever I wanted. I didn't want the external pressure of having to post every single week because I knew that I wouldn't react very well to that, and it would subsequently then lead to me not hitting record. So I actually removed a podcast schedule. However, I know that it can be incredibly valuable for those that need that accountability. First up, set yourself a schedule that you think you'll be able to abide by, and then keep up, hit record, and get started. Finally, we now move on to the actual podcast setup. Now, if you're just getting started, you want this to be as simple as possible. The only thing I truly would recommend is getting yourself a good microphone. People will sit through poor video, but they will not listen to poor audio. So get yourself a good microphone that can either be attached to your mobile or attached to your laptop computer. But you need a good microphone for your podcast to get the downloads and the attention that it deserves. Over time, you can start to develop your setup that you have. What I personally use right now is a Blue Yeti microphone, and then I record using Zoom and also my mobile. I do also have some DSLR cameras, a Canon 2000D that I use as well every now and then. But for you, it can just be, your laptop and a good microphone. It can be your phone and a good microphone. You just need a simple setup to get started. What I would advise is having a backup recording device. So when I film my podcast episodes, I film using Zoom and my mobile at the same time, so that if one crashes, I've got the other, and it also gives me multiple different video angles that I can use for the editing. So that is what I would recommend, recording with two different devices. However, having one really good audio that you can use and having a microphone. Hope that helps. And that is it for today. What to do before starting your podcast. I hope that you have enjoyed this content. And if you've got value from it, please do help me in supporting the channel by hitting subscribe down below. I look forward to sharing more content with you soon. Take care.